Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Before I begin my presentation, allow me to introduce myself. I'm Meisi Ardiana Putri from Biology Class A. Today, I will presentation about the development of Islamic civilization in the Archipelago. Well, turning our attention now to the discussion. My presentation is divided into 4 main sections. First, the process of spreading Islam in the Archipelago. Second, the development of Islam in the Archipelago. Third, the development of Islamic civilization during the Kingdom and Wali Songo. And fourth, post-royal Islamic civilization. Let's talk about the process of spreading Islam in the Archipelago. The Archipelago became the center of sea trade and became a stopover for traders, thus making the interaction between traders and native strangers. This was used by Islamic traders to spread their religion to the natives. The interaction of these traders makes traders have a big role in the spread of Islam in the Archipelago region. The spread of Islam by traders generally took place peacefully, except in some politically glittering conditions that required subjugation. Next, generally, the spread of Islam carried out by traders is carried out through 2 channels, namely A. Trading. The interaction between traders and natives is used by traders to spread Islam. This even occurred between the 7th century AD to the 16th century because at the time it was the peak of the bustle of the archipelago trade. B. Marriage. Islamic traders who came to the archipelago married indigenous women, and before marriage, the indigenous women were asked to say 2 sentences of the Shahada as a symbol of entering Islam. Let's turn to the development of Islam in the archipelago. The role of the merchants who came and increasingly dominating the market. The archipelago is quite large in the development of Islamic civilization in the archipelago. The development of Islam in the archipelago was more successful when compared to other regions. This was due to the peaceful way carried out by traders to spread Islam in the archipelago. In contrast to other areas that spread by political means and conquest. Then, Muslim traders from both Arabs and Persians had considerable interest in coming to the archipelago. Inseparable from the progress of the Sriwijaya Kingdom as a center of international trade activities. The beginning of the progress of Islamic civilization was the emergence of small groups in the countryside who carried out Islamic Shi'ar activities such as recitation and education and could attract the attention of the surrounding community. The community is very accepting of these activities because education is a whole in every circle. Education is no longer the privilege of the nobility. The tradition of Islamic education has targeted all circles. If viewed in detail, the spirit of Islam in the archipelago is not a large-scale invasion to spread Islam and can be said to have occurred by chance. This is because the distribution is not comprehensive, because it only involves a small group that has economic interests that are almost exclusively limited to the center of the spice trade. It can be said that the main influence from the beginning of the spread of Islam in the archipelago was the existence of Muslim traders who came to the archipelago. This influence grew with the decline of Hindu-Buddhist influence from kingdoms such as Sriwijaya and Majapahit. Muslim groups began to show their existence with the emergence of Islamic kingdoms in various regions of the archipelago. Let's move on to the development of Islamic civilization during the kingdom and Wali Songo. Firstly, the influence of Wali Songo's dakwah on the island of Java. Wali Songo is a pioneer in the spirit of Islamization in Java. This influence began with the entry of Islam in the archipelago, precisely on the island of Sumatra, namely the establishment of the Samudra Pasai kingdom. The spirit of Islam then led to the eastern part of the archipelago, precisely to the island of Java, namely the sending of missionaries. This is marked by the establishment of the Demak Sultanate, which cannot be separated from the role of Wali Songo. Then, Wali Songo is almost as an interpreter of truth in galvanizing society, physically and mentally, in all social levels, from the lower classes of society to the rulers of the kingdom. Wali Songo's teachings combine Islamic law with the culture of the local community by eliminating the element of shock that exists in the culture. This makes Wali Songo's dakwah can be easily accepted by people who cannot give up the teachings of their ancestor. Secondly, the influence of the Islamic kingdom on Islamic civilization in the archipelago. Since Islam entered the archipelago in the 7th century AD, the indigenous population began to embrace Islam, although not on a large scale, but a rural group that was Muslim was formed. The influence of Islam began to be seen on a large scale at the time of the establishment of the Islamic kingdoms, which was preceded by the establishment of the Samudra Pasai kingdom in Sumatra, according to Marco Polo records in 692 AD or 1292 AD. Since the Islam has had political power and spread to various regions in Indonesia. And then A. The Islamic kingdom on the island of Sumatra. The first Islamic kingdom on the island of Sumatra was Samudra Pasai, as well as the first kingdom in the archipelago. namely in the 13th century AD. The first ruler of Samudra Pasai was Sultan Malik as-Saleh, who converted to Islam after marrying a princess from the kingdom of Perlak. Samudra Pasai began to collapse since it was occupied by the Portuguese in 1521 AD. In the end, Pasai was controlled by the Kingdom of Aceh in 1524 AD. The first ruler of the Aceh Kingdom was Sultan Ali Mughayat Shah and had Islamic influence since occupying the Pasai Kingdom, so that thanks to the establishment of the Aceh Kingdom, new political forces emerged in various regions outside Sumatra. The rapid progress of the Aceh Kingdom was due to the collapse of the trading center in the Malacca Kingdom because it was controlled by the Portuguese. B. Islamic Kingdom on Java Island. The Kingdom of Demak was pioneered by Sunan Ampel and appointed his student Raden Fatah as the first king. The Demak Kingdom experienced a period of glory when it was led by Sultan Trenggono in 1527 and experienced a collapse since the arrival of the Portuguese and transferred power to the Pajang area. The power of Demak was held by Jaka Tingkir at the time of the transfer of the territory to Pajang. Jaka Tingkir gave the territory in Yogyakarta to his dog, Ki Gede Pamenahan. The power of Mataram, or Yogyakarta, was continued by Ki Gede Pamenahan's son, Sutawijaya. Meanwhile, the power of Pajang was continued by Prince Benawa. Sutawijaya became the pioneer of the establishment of the Islamic Mataram Kingdom, which was previously Hindu in style. The Islamic Mataram Kingdom had a very wide area of Islamic rule and had a major influence on the development of Islamic civilization on the island of Java. Islamic Mataram experienced a heyday during the leadership of Sultan Agung Hanyakrakusuma. Next, Islamic civilization on the island of Java can also be seen from the West Java area, namely the establishment of the Cirebon Kingdom. This kingdom was led by Sunan Gunung Jati or Syarif Hidayatullah, who had liberated it from the Hindu rule of the Pajajaran Kingdom. Sunan Gunung Jati spread the teachings of Islam to all corners of West Java, such as Majalengka, Banten, and Sunda Kelapa. So, the Kingdom of Banten emerged, which was led by his son-in-law, Sultan Hasanuddin. And last, post-royal Islamic civilization. The Portuguese entered the archipelago in the 16th century AD and early 17th century AD. The purpose of this arrival was for the sake of the spice trade, considering that the archipelago has a wealth of spice procedures, thus making Western European nations such as the Portuguese and the Dutch come to archipelago. This made the Islamic civilization in the archipelago after the reign of the leadership of the Islamic kingdom was influenced by the Western colonial era. Next, the struggle had certainly been carried out to repel the colonials, but their technology and weapons were superior to the power of the kingdoms. This became the beginning of the decline in the influence of the Islamic kingdoms' power in Islamic civilization in the archipelago. One of the colonial figures who was very influential in the decline of Islamic rule was Nog Hergranje, a Dutch advisor who took care of indigenous affairs, made the Dutch government more courageous in making policies regarding Islamic issues in Indonesia. Snow put forward his ideas known as Islamic politics. This is a conclusion. Islamic civilization in the archipelago began when uh, Islam entered the archipelago in the 7th century AD Prague by Islamic traders. The spread of Islam carried out by traders took place peacefully but through marriage and education channels. Thanks to the dakwah from traders, Muslim communities were formed in various areas, especially in coastal areas. At the time Islam began to develop but not yet on a large scale. Adherents of Islam began to grow rapidly at the time of, of the emergence of Islamic breeding kingdoms. These kingdoms were located in several areas and exerted considerable influence in Islamic civilization. In addition, in addition to the kingdom, dakwah from religious figures such as the dakwah of Wali Songo in Java Island also has a role in Islamic civilization. However, Islamic rule through the kingdom over time began to decline due to the monopoly pressure of the economy of the Western and European colonial nations who came to the archipelago in the 16th century AD. This is a bibliography. I think that's all. Thanks. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.